My name is Linda Johnson. I woke up to the familiar sound of my alarm clock. The gentle chimes echoed through the cozy bedroom of our home in the suburbs of Springfield, Ohio. The soft morning light filtering through the floral curtains cast a warm glow on the faded wallpaper that had witnessed countless family memories over the years. I'm 55 years old, working part-time as a teacher while managing household chores. As I get out of bed and slip on my well-worn slippers, I think about the busy day ahead while going through my morning routine. On my way to the kitchen, I pause in front of my 14-year-old son Michael's room. I gently open the door to check on him, still sleeping. I'm secretly proud of the wonderful relationship we've built. He's hardly gone through the typical teenage rebellion and never causes trouble at school. While preparing breakfast, I think about my husband, Robert. He's 58 and currently away on a long business trip. Apparently, he's been assigned a big project, which has kept him away from home more often. We have fewer chances to talk on the phone, and I sometimes feel a bit lonely. But I remind myself that it's all for work. As the pleasant aroma of toasting bread fills the kitchen, I glance at the calendar. Noticing that Robert's expected return date is still far off, I let out a small sigh. I'm a little concerned that we're spending less time together as a family of 3. Michael appears in the kitchen with a sleepy face. "Good morning, Mom," he says as he sits at the table. As usual, we have breakfast together, chatting about school events and his friends. I deeply appreciate how precious these ordinary moments are. After breakfast, I see Michael off to school and start preparing for my own work. My part-time teaching job is rewarding, though sometimes challenging. But I'm determined to do my best for my family. Before leaving the house, I look at the family photo in the living room. The 3 of us smiling. But I realize we haven't taken a new picture in a while. Perhaps we've been spending less family time since Robert's work got busier. Feeling this slight unease, I leave the house without dwelling on it further. While driving, I think about today's lessons. Picturing my students' faces makes me a bit nervous. But my love for teaching helps ease that tension. Arriving at school, I exchange greetings with my colleagues. Everyone's kind, and it's a pleasant work environment. Yet, when I think about home, an indescribable anxiety flickers in my chest. Still, I need to focus on the task at hand. Taking a deep breath, I head to the classroom, feeling as if an unknown fate awaits me. After finishing the afternoon classes, I head home. It was another day encouraged by my students' smiles. While driving, I ponder dinner options. Should I make Michael's favorite lasagna, or go for a simple chicken salad? Lost in such ordinary thoughts, I park the car in our garage. I open the front door and call out, "I'm home." Naturally, there's no response. Michael should still be at school. As I put down my bag and start towards the kitchen, I hear footsteps rushing down the stairs. "Michael." I turn around in surprise to see my son standing before me. It's too early for him to be back from school. "Mom." There's an urgency in Michael's voice that I've never heard before. His face is pale, and sweat beads on his forehead. "What's wrong?" What about school? Michael interrupts my questions with a shout. We need to run away right now. My heart leaps at those words. What? What happened? Michael, out of breath, tries to explain quickly. It's about Dad. Dad. His words trail off. I place my hands on my son's shoulders, trying to calm him. It's okay, take your time. What happened? Michael takes a deep breath, seeming to calm down a bit. But fear still lingers in his eyes. Dad, we're in danger. I don't know the details, but I saw Dad's phone. Alarms go off in my head. Robert's phone. Danger. What's going on? Michael, calm down. What did you see on Dad's phone? My son hesitates, then pulls a smartphone from his pocket. Dad left this at home. And then there were strange messages. I take the smartphone from Michael and look at the screen. Indeed, there are conversations with people we don't know. As I read the content, my hands start to shake. I'm at a loss for words. The content is unbelievable. Michael continues, Mom, it looks like Dad's involved in something bad. And we might be in danger too. I look into my son's face. His eyes reflect anxiety and fear, but also a strong determination. I understand. I take a deep breath, trying to regain my composure. First, let's calm down and you tell me everything in detail. We move to the living room and sit on the sofa. Michael clasps his hands on his knees and begins to tell me everything. The content of the messages he found on the phone, unsettling rumors he heard at school, and the recent changes in Robert's behavior. As I listen, various emotions swirl within me. Surprise, fear, and sadness. An unknown side of my husband of many years is being revealed. At the same time, I feel a strong need to handle this situation calmly. Michael, thank you for telling me all this. I hold my son's hand and smile encouragingly. You're very brave. Michael seems a little relieved, but tension still hasn't left him. Mom, what should we do? I think deeply. I need to make a calm judgment now. The safety of our family is the top priority. Well, I choose my words carefully. First, it might be dangerous to stay here. But it's not good to move hastily either. I stand up and look out the window. The view of the quiet residential area remains unchanged. However, I can't help but sense the danger lurking within this tranquility. Michael, let's pack our bags. Just the essentials. I make my decision. And I'll contact my friend Sarah. We can trust her. My son nods silently. His eyes reflect anxiety but also trust in me. It's going to be okay. We'll get through this together. I say firmly. However, anxiety swirls in my heart. What will become of us now? And Robert, what on earth are you doing? Michael and I started packing our essentials hurriedly. All the while, I couldn't get the content of my son's story out of my head. "Hey, Michael," I asked carefully, choosing my words. "Can you tell me more about the messages you saw on Dad's phone?" Michael stopped packing and took a deep breath. "Yes," he began hesitantly. "It looked like Dad was making some kind of deal with someone. There was talk about money and documents." My heart raced. "A deal? What kind of deal?" "I'm not sure, but—" Michael furrowed his brow. It seemed like he was trying to sell confidential company information. I gasped at those words. Robert, doing such a thing. It's unbelievable. But thinking back on his recent behavior, something had definitely been off. "Anything else that bothered you?" I asked, trying to maintain my composure. Michael thought for a moment before answering. "Dad's been talking on the phone a lot lately in a hushed voice. He'd hang up in a hurry when I got close. Come to think of it, I had noticed that too. But I had convinced myself it was just work secrets. Now, it all makes sense. The increase in long business trips, less time with family, and the occasional uneasy demeanor he showed. Mom, has Dad turned into a bad person?" Michael's voice trembled. I hugged my son. "No, that's not it. There must be some circumstances we don't know about. But right now, our safety is the most important thing." As we continued packing, I looked around the house. "Is there any clue?" My eyes fell on the bookshelf in the study. "Wait a minute," I went to the bookshelf and pulled out an old album. As I flipped through the pages, photos of our happy times were lined up. But there were no recent photos. Then, a piece of paper slipped out from the back of the album. "This is—" I exclaimed in surprise. It was a bank statement. There were records of huge transactions I knew nothing about. "Michael, come here," I called my son. "Look at this. It seems Dad was hiding something big from us." Michael's eyes widened as he looked at the statement. "Mom, does this mean—" I exhaled deeply. "Yes. The situation seems to be more serious than we thought." At that moment, the doorbell rang. Michael and I looked at each other, frozen. "Who is it?" Michael asked in a low voice. "I don't know," I answered cautiously. "But maybe—" The doorbell rang again. We held our breath. "Mom, what should we do?" Michael's voice was shaking. I made a decision. "We don't have time. Let's leave right now." Through the back door. We hurriedly finished packing the rest of our belongings and headed for the back door. As we did, I took one last look at our family photos. Memories of happier days. But now, we must face a new reality. "Are you ready?" I asked Michael. He nodded bravely. "Yes, let's go." We quietly opened the back door and stepped outside. We don't know where we're heading yet. But we have each other. That's enough. "I'll call Sarah," I said. "She should be able to help us." Michael nodded silently. His eyes reflected anxiety but also strong determination. We quickly got into the car. As I started the engine, I looked back at the house one more time. The memories we built there, and the peaceful days now lost. But we must look forward. It's going to be okay, I told Michael. We'll get through this together. As I drove away, a sense of determination grew in my heart. This is the beginning of a new life, and the start of a journey to uncover the truth. After hanging up the phone with Sarah, I took a deep breath, trying to calm my heart. My friend was surprised but immediately offered to help. Now we have a temporary shelter secured. Michael, we're going to Sarah's place. Let's hurry with the preparations. My son nodded silently and continued packing. Watching him, I once again realized the gravity of our situation. The ordinary life we had just hours ago now seemed like a distant past. Suddenly, we heard the sound of a car. We froze. Mom, could it be? Michael's voice trembled. The car visible through the window was unmistakably Robert's. Hurry, I said in a low voice. Leave the luggage. We need to get out through the back door right now. Being careful not to make any noise, we headed for the back door. Just before opening it, we heard the front door open. Linda. Michael. Robert's voice echoed through the house. Michael and I looked at each other. Seeing the fear in my son's eyes, I steeled my resolve. Let's go. I took Michael's hand and we went out through the back door. We crossed the yard and came out to the back alley. Robert's voice was getting closer. Linda. Where are you? My heart was pounding. But we couldn't stop. We came out to the main street and hailed a taxi. Hurry, I told the driver as we got in. Take us as far as you can. Just as the car started moving, I saw Robert burst out of the alley. Linda. Wait. His voice gradually faded away. Michael looked back, but I kept facing forward. It's okay, I said with a shaky voice. We have our own path now. The taxi drove out of town and continued through unfamiliar scenery. Looking at the landscape flowing past the window, I reflected on my life so far. Our wedding day. The day Michael was born. The happy times we spent as a family. And the shocking truth revealed today. Everything was running through my mind like a fast-moving picture show. Mom, Michael's voice brought me back to reality. What's going to happen to us now? I squeezed my son's hand. I don't know. But if we're together, I'm sure we can overcome anything. The taxi entered the highway. The lights of the town behind us gradually grew smaller. It seemed to symbolize our farewell to our past. It's the beginning of a new life, I whispered. Michael nodded silently. In his eyes, I could see anxiety but also a glimmer of hope. The taxi continued driving through the darkness of the night. We don't know our destination. But what's certain is that we're here together. And we have a strong determination to protect each other. Hey, Michael, I said quietly. We'll understand about Dad someday. But for now, let's think about our future. Yes, Michael's voice had regained some strength. Looking at the scenery flowing past the window, I exhaled deeply. This is the path we've chosen. It might be difficult, but I'm proud that we had the courage to seek the truth and start a new life. The taxi's headlights cut through the darkness, carrying us towards an unknown future. We don't know what awaits us, but surely a path will open up. As long as Michael and I walk together, supporting each other. Well, this is the beginning of our new life, I whispered, softly but firmly. 2 weeks after we fled in the taxi, we learned a shocking truth. It was reported in the news. Robert had been trying to sell confidential information about a new drug being secretly developed at his workplace, a major pharmaceutical company, to a rival company. In return, he was supposed to receive an enormous amount of money. However, the authorities discovered the deal just before it was to take place. Robert attempted to flee the country but was arrested at the airport. The day we left home, he had returned to say his final goodbyes. But at the same time, it could have potentially put us in danger. 1 year later, my son and I had begun walking a new path in life. In a small town, I was working as an English teacher at the local high school, and Michael had made friends at his new school, gradually regaining a sense of normalcy. The divorce from Robert was finalized, and he was sentenced to a long prison term. Occasionally, Michael would remember his father and look sad. But we've grown stronger. One evening, while watching the sunset, Michael said, "Mom, we did the right thing, didn't we?" I smiled and answered, "Yes, we did." Sometimes the right choices are the most difficult ones, but we still have to make them. We leaned against each other, gazing at the fiery sunset. Certainly, some anxieties remain. But I feel hope in this new start. We can't change the past, but the future isn't